right, and we are live again. So it's Sebastian from ENZYME at Work. We have another great guest this week, AbdelRahman Fahmy. And so just for the ones that are, let's say, joining us today, that maybe doesn't know about ENZYME at Work. So the goal is to try to identify market voices and leaders in this world that have proven experience on the topic of collaboration, circular economy, sustainability, startups, and entrepreneurship, and to exchange knowledge on maybe potential ways to mitigate global warming and collaborate better together. So this week I'm with Fahmy and AbdelRahman Fahmy, and we are going to talk about sustainability startups in the Middle East and Egypt. I'm super happy to welcome AbdelRahman Fahmy because he knows very well about the topic. So without further ado, AbdelRahman, if you can introduce yourself, and then we go right on into the topic. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, Sebastian, and it's a pleasure to be here. My name is AbdelRahman Fahmy. I'm originally from Egypt, and I founded a couple of social environmental businesses that are trying to promote for sustainable solutions and the sustainable technologies in the region. We're working on three dimensions: raising education and awareness, entrepreneurship and innovation promotion. That's including also startup support, of course. And lastly is advisory and consultancy in the environmental development and climate change. The MENA region is one of the most regions that are exposed to climatic changes and also climate risks. A lot of mitigation and adaptation efforts needs to be done, a lot of resources, a lot of opportunities in the sustainable development area. And we believe that cross-cutting collaboration and working together with different stakeholders is the key solution to such opportunities and challenges. And that's what's our mission, is to bring people together, try to explore business opportunities within the sustainable development sector at large, and of course climate change and circular economy specifically. Thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure to be here with you.
Thank you very much, Adela. I'm going to be already going a little bit off track our discussion, but I'm curious to know, what is your definition of sustainability and sustainability business model, if I may ask?
Yeah. The definition of sustainability is, as you know, it is maybe the online one, but for me, I mean, every region, every country have a set of natural resources, have a set of opportunities, and the effective utilization of such opportunities and resources towards sustaining something today and for tomorrow as well. That's for me is sustainability. So it's all linked to how that we can enhance our lifestyles and how we can have a more responsible lifestyle, tech enabled, of course, but with a very mindful mindset of the other ecosystems around us. Either it's the marine ecosystem or the natural ecosystem or the atmospheric ecosystem. So the more we are innovative in developing our lifestyle, while putting in mind that we should maintain this to decades and centuries ahead, this is what I mean by sustainability. And of course, resources, it's different from a region to another. That's why innovation is also needed on the local grounds, local-led innovation, local established innovation that is suitable for the community, that's suitable for the environmental condition, for the resources, for the economical status. So that's for me sustainability. And I think it doesn't actually entail that a certain country is developed or not developed or something like that to work on the sustainability portfolio. Each and every country has to manage its own resources with collaborating with nearby, of course, regions and innovating its own sustainability with the partnership, of course, and support of other countries. But one solution fits all. This is not something that is highly encouraged, especially in the sustainable atmosphere.
Okay, thank you very much for that, Adela. For those of you that are interested in the topic, OECD released yesterday a very, very interesting report about sustainability definition framework. I highly encourage you to have a look at it, coming back on the question I just asked to Adela. So coming back to the topic of today, fostering the next wave of sustainability startups in Middle East and Egypt. What's cooking in this space? Can you tell us more?
Yeah. Uh, I mean, a lot has been happening in this region for the last couple of years. Of course, some economical developments in the Gulf region and very speedy transition in the Gulf region as well to be one of the world business hubs and touristic hubs right now. And of course, also a lot of, especially after the pandemic, there has been a lot of focus on enhancing the food security and the supply chain of products from the region and to the world as well. Agriculture and water resources is something of really high importance right now. A lot of innovation is being cooked or being worked on in the North African region, in the Gulf region, given also the climatic challenges that's happening. Uh, we have seen in some areas some heat waves, but also changes in the timings of the atmospheric changes and so on. And this is affecting badly the agriculture crops, the availability of water, the vaporization of water, and a lot many aspects that has to do also with the insects and the migration of birds and so on. So with all these changes, agriculture ecosystem is encouraged right now and to be more resilient, to be more adaptive to such um, climatic changes, but also to think outside of the box how to manage different resources and how to add value to different agriculture crops. Other than this, of course, a lot of other opportunities in the renewable energy sector. The MENA region and the GCC is one of the best locations for the renewable energy. Either it's the solar energy or the wind energy. A lot of installments right now. We have seen the last 5 years. It witnessed the establishment of a lot of solar parks and solar farms. Some of them are the biggest across the world in the region, and also for wind energy. So with this comes a great opportunity for startups. Also lately, very lately, this region was on fire when it comes to hydrogen energy and hydrogen fuel cells. A lot of countries are competing together in a good way to be the new hub for the green hydrogen fuel cells. And the green hydrogen, of course, it includes the renewable energy aspect. So Morocco, Egypt, UAE, Saudi Arabia, and many other countries are competing towards that. So there is a lot happening. Also the last two UNFCCC Convention of Parties occurred in this area in Egypt in 2022, and 2023 it was in the UAE. And also it's not far away the next year or this year, actually it's in Azerbaijan, so it's also in the same geographical area. So yeah, this is by far the how the scene looks like right now in terms of sustainability startups and innovations.
Okay, very good. Thank you very much for this landscape overview, Abdelrahman. One question I'm relating to what you said just before. You said a lot of we need to think local also, and you said okay, a lot of issues need to solve. Let's say ideas to solve local, let's say, challenges. So maybe not everything can be scaled up or can be like globalized. But on the other end, I hear hydrogen, I hear fuel, I hear solar, I hear wind. And for me, these are kind of more like global tech. How do you, maybe can you explain maybe your view on what can be local, what can be global? Because, startups, you and me know very well that a startup by definition needs to scale. So
Yeah.
what is your view between these two things?
It depends on of course, thank you so much for this question. It depends on the nature of the startups. Some startups are addressing some certain challenges. And if we are talking about challenges based innovations, then this has to be a little bit localized. Of course, learning from other experiences, similar economies, similar markets, but it has to be localized to fit with the challenges that is facing. And then maybe it startups also has to be agile. I mean, if the solution is local, that doesn't mean that the startup cannot scale to other markets. It can scale, of course, to other markets, but it has to also follow the same steps of developing a localized solution in that market. So, for example, if I'm a startup located in the Northern African and I'm willing to Northern African region and I'm willing to expand to the Western or Southern African region, which is full of potentials, I have to be mindful of the different economic and environmental conditions over there. Yes, I have a very good learning experience from a very nearby market, but still, I would say the climatic conditions in West Africa and Southern Africa is completely different than Northern Africa. Maybe they are similar in economy a little bit, but still. So a startup, in order to develop a viable and sustainable solution, it has to be a locally and fitting solution. But that doesn't
Mhm.
mean that the startup cannot migrate or cannot scale to other markets, mindful that they don't replicate, copy paste their solution, but rather localize it in a proper way. But also for the startups who are working for the opportunities, not necessarily the challenges. This is where I think, yeah, it's more globalized approach. There is a lot of opportunities, a lot of startups right now. Many of the startups are focused on exporting, either they're exporting service or exporting products. So, of course, working geographically, regionally with nearby continents, Europe, Asia, and likewise. So, with this approach, I mean, also there could be a global vision and so on, but it has
Mhm.
also to include some solid ground for the
Okay.
startups.
Okay. Yeah, it has to solve a very clear problem root cause. Do you have maybe some startup from the top of your head that, from your perspective, did a quite a good job from identifying a very specific problem locally and managed to scale it? Do you have maybe from top of your head two or three startups that you can talk about or mention them as a nice success story?
Yeah. I normally don't want to mention names, not to forget someone,
Yes,
but
exactly. I know it's a bit tricky. That's why I know that. Yeah.
and then you say that oh my gosh, how I
Yeah.
skipped this. But yeah, in the agriculture sector we can see a lot of names. So we have, for example, in Egypt, Muzara, of course, uh, uh, Plug and Grow, Renile, um, Zar'i, of course, and a lot agrobots, a lot of agriculture innovation startups, um, agricash. I don't want to
Yeah,
forget
yeah, yeah.
anyone,
Why
but
do
all of
you are you saying that these startups have already have nice market shares in Egypt or even been some other countries? Where does they stand, some of these startups?
yes, their story, what they share in common, that they all started here based on the opportunity in the innovation in the agriculture sector, but also they are now working effectively in the region, either it's the Northern African region or the GCC as well, the Gulf countries,
Hmm.
uh, to also evolve the agriculture ecosystem and the agriculture economy over there. They started here, and they started then to look to nearby markets, sorry, and to develop or to tweak their solutions. Of course, the climatic and the agriculture crops being cultivated in the Gulf countries is totally different than here, and it's totally different than Morocco and the Western Northern African part. But they still have the solid technology, the solid methodology, and they can implement it. Of course, nearby countries like Jordan, like Sudan, they are very similar in the environmental conditions, so it's very easy for them to work in there. But they also managed, and this is what they share all, that they also managed to start discussion and start implementing their solutions in the nearby countries. So I think, of course, the geopolitical conditions is really supportive. So they speak the same language. They have very near culture. That's something, of course, we have to consider. But at the end, also, they had competition from all over the world. They had competition from Europe. They had competition from Asia. They had competition from Africa. And they are competing in a healthy way to bring this their solution towards the nearby countries. So there is a lot of innovation happening in the agriculture sector, in the water, also desalination and the water resources
Yeah.
aspect.
Yeah.
Renewable energy is on fire, of course, but this has been for
Yeah.
decades. It's not something
Yeah.
new.
Yeah.
Circular economy and waste management, I think this is the next. Circular economy is usually the hot topic, because
Yeah.
waste management is really a problematic item, and it increases with development. But
Yeah.
I mean, still, and this one of the very good stories, that circular economy in Europe cannot fit by any mean the technologies over there, cannot fit by any mean the technologies here, or the ecosystem
Yeah.
here. It has to
Yeah.
be localized, it has to be fitting,
Yeah. Yeah.
and then translated into other nearby countries.
Yeah.
So the
Yeah.
circular economy is also the next big thing, I would say.
Yeah. Well, thank you much for that very practical example. What I also listening to you, what I also see is that, I mean, if you take, let's say, the consequences of global warming, it's warming. There's drought, there is, and I mean, at least in Europe, we are not yet facing the same drought that there is in some part of the globe. And let's say you guys, because of your location, the problem you have, for me, are USP in some way, because you are trying to solve problems that are being faced by the much larger population than the problems that we, the same startups, are going to solve in Europe, because we are not. For me, it's also from pure business perspective, the challenges you are addressing in this region of the world could have a much larger scope of interest than maybe potentially the same tech that is in Europe, but addressing very specific climate that we have in Europe, which is not, that you only do not find that much in Europe, in the world, compared to the startups that you have over there. It's a USP.
Of course. Honestly, for the last couple of years, we have witnessed very unfamiliar climatic events, as you mentioned, droughts, some also heat waves, some I would say changes also in the some hurricanes, maybe in Oman,
Yeah.
and some
Yeah.
wildfires in Algeria and in different parts of the northern Africa and Tunisia as well, and those all by the global warming, as you mentioned.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's really very urgent that we
Yeah.
address
Yeah.
climatic change. We start to implement early warning systems, and also to adapt our economy, either it's the agriculture or the industry or even the
Yeah.
touristic economy, with the
Yeah.
changing
Yeah.
circumstances. But
Yeah.
as you mentioned, we are dealing with a very big population here,
Yeah.
not the biggest like in Asia, but still a
Yeah.
lot of people living in very
Yeah.
climate risky
Yes.
environment, I would say.
Yes. Yeah. No, so I mean, you know me. I mean, I'm a big believer, and this is also why I started UNLOKINNO. I'm a big believer that the best practical, implementable solution to mitigate global warming are going to come from the global south. I'm a big believer of this, because just look at numbers. You look at the issues that, for example, about drought you have in Africa, in Asia, in South America, are very similar. It's a very big problem for sure, but they are similar. So if they are similar enough, it means you have room to scale. So, and for me, this is, and then it's 6 billion people. So for me, this is, maybe I'm completely biased, but I'm a huge believer in the fact that the best solution, best also in terms of time, how long is going to take to have this solution to deliver, is going to come from the global south. I'm a huge believer of this. We
Yeah,
are
yeah, yeah.
slowly going to the, yes, sorry, go ahead.
No. I completely agree on that, and the cross cutting collaboration between south to south collaboration is really something very important. We have seen it in many of the applications from India, from Brazil, from a lot of countries that really the technology that was used there was very suitable. So
Yeah,
learning from other countries and sharing knowledge across south-south collaboration. This is
yeah,
something really essential for startups and entrepreneurs.
yeah. I agree. I fully agree. South to south for me is something that a lot of startups, at least in Europe and the US, are not paying enough attention. They are not paying enough attention. They tend to. I'm making a generalization, so don't fight the messenger. But I was a startup myself. We tend too much to generalize on our ecosystem, our perimeter, and we tend, it's a bias of every startup on this planet. We are biased. Okay, what we see here, our premise is going to be the same somewhere else. No, back to your point, localized. Don't forget that it's different. So we are bonus at the end. We already 1 minute more. So, and we already talked about the topic I wanted to discuss, which is about the space in 5 years from now. Um, so we could have talked hours. I mean, definitely on this topic. But what is important is that I think the message are very clear. And I would highly encourage, if anyone is interested about what's cooking in the Middle East, in Egypt, startup collaboration, sustainability, you know where to go. AbdelRahman is the person to go to. You need to reach out to him. I would like to thank you again very, very much for your time, Abdelrahman.
Thank
And
you.
we keep on working together anyway with UNLOKINNO. But I'm glad you had some time to be there today. Thank you for the people that are going to listen now, listen afterwards. Stronger together is my motto for the people that knows me. So thank you again. Shukran,
Thank
is it
you.
correct in
Thank you.
Egypt?
Yes. Yes.
Shukran?
Yeah. Shukran.
Shukran.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you so
Shukran.
much, Sebastian. Wish you a lovely day ahead, and
Yeah.
yeah, we keep on collaborating together. Thank
Yeah.
you.
So just wait in the room while I'm closing it, and thank you for everyone today.
Sure. Sure. Sure.